Okay, meeting will please come to order. All right, all rise to our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For our moment of silence this evening, we would like to dedicate it to the father of one of our staff persons, Mr. George David Phillips, who is George Phillips, who's usually here with us and has been acting as our receptionist, kind of fill-in jack of all trades. And he lost his father this week. A gentleman by the name of George David Phillips, who is a former Ohio State Highway Patrolman, was an active law enforcement officer at Case Western Reserve University, and the Director of Protective Services at University Hospital, and his funeral will be on Friday. So we'll take a moment of silence in his benefit. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Mr. Rogers? Here. Ms. Simon? Here. Mr. Greenspan?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Present.
Mr. Brady? Present. Mr. Germana? Here. Mr. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Tron?
Here.
Ms. Conwell? Here. Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Conley?
Here.
There is a quorum.
Thank you. We have a change in the agenda for this evening. I understand Mr. Miller is going to make a motion.
Madam Chairperson, I move to amend the agenda to insert item 12 immediately following item number 7, and to add an additional item within and at the beginning of item number 12, an ordinance relating to the establishment of the Department of Public Works and related matters.
All right, Mr. Miller has made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Approving the motion, Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Simon?
Yes.
Mr. Greenspan?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Mr. Germana?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Tron?
Yes.
Ms. Conwell?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We now have an opportunity for comments on the agenda. And since we are going to be going into the executive session, if there were any comments by any other persons, we'd be willing to entertain them now so they wouldn't have to wait around. And I understand Mr. Pausch has signed in. You want to read that officially for the record?
Yes, Madam Chair. Mr. Fred Pausch, representing the County Engineers Association of Ohio, would like to address ordinance number 02011-0011.
All right, Mr. Pausch,
the
you
new
come
number
forward.
11.
Madam President, County Exec Fitzgerald, members of council, my name is Fred Pausch. I'm the Executive Director of the County Engineers Association of Ohio. Thank you for allowing me to come before you and testify. Let me first state we have been trying to work with the county exec and county council the last 4 or 5 days to resolve our issues with the Director of Public Works. However, the resolution before you does not solve all our problems, and we don't believe that it will pass muster with the Ohio Constitution and the Ohio Revised Code. Let me just shortly explain, since I just got handed this. Ordinance number 02011-0011 has nothing prescribed by this ordinance that handles the duties and the powers of a county engineer here in the state of Ohio. This falls short. This falls short of where we need to be. For the other counties, there's 87 other counties that have elected county engineer that is defined by Ohio Revised Code statute and the Ohio Constitution. We're trying to steer Cuyahoga County to protect your citizens of Cuyahoga County. I would also shortly like to address ordinance number 02011-00110 also, Madam President, if I may.
Yes.
In the second paragraph says, whereas section 5.05 of the charter states in pertinent part that the Director of Public Works shall also have such powers and duties as shall be established by ordinance that are not inconsistent with those provided by general law. I would argue that even that statement violates the Ohio Constitution. Article 10, Section 3. Also, if I may, Madam President, go directly to Section 5.05 of the county charter, where it states, Director of Public Works, powers, duties, and qualifications. All powers now and hereafter vested in or imposed upon county engineers and county sanitary engineers by general law shall be exercised and carried out by or at the direction of the Director of Public Works.
Excuse me, your time is up.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I'll be
If you
happy
want-
to.
We'll extend if you want a couple of minutes. He's come all the way from Columbus. We'll give him a couple more minutes to conclude.
This is a long, drawn-out process. I would ask council to look at Article 10 of the Ohio Constitution, Section 3, states, every such charter shall provide the form of government of the county and shall determine which of its officers shall be elected and manner of their election. It shall provide for the exercise of all powers vested in and the performance of all duties imposed upon counties and county officers by law. I'd also have the council look at Ohio Revised Code sections 3.15.02. No person holding the office, I'll skip pertinent to the county engineer. No person is eligible in any county as a candidate for such office or shall be elected or appointed thereto unless he is a registered professional engineer and registered surveyor licensed to practice in this state. Also, Madam President, let me add, a county officer means exercises the sovereignty of this state. And number two, the statute, which I just read, Ohio Revised Code 315.02, says that a county engineer must adhere to that and be a county officer. Madam President, I will conclude with that. If there are any questions, we'll try to address them.
Are there any questions of Mr. Pausch? We thank you very much for your
Thank you, Madam
consideration.
President.
All right.
County Exec Fitzgerald.
All right. Are there any other persons that have checked in for public comment? Okay. All right. Item 6 on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from February the 8th meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes.
Second.
That's moved by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. Is there any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Approving the minutes, Mr. Rogers? Yes. Ms. Simon?
Yes.
Mr. Greenspan?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Mr. Germana?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Schron?
Yes.
Ms. Conwell? Yes. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, Mr. Fitzgerald, do you have some words of wisdom for us this afternoon?
Not of wisdom, no. I do not have a report to make this evening.
Okay, I will just note for the record that there are a list of contracts executed by the county executive, and he has been gracious enough to supply those to the council for information only. That's been made available to us. Thank you. All right, we go on to motion point number 8, and I believe there is a motion to suspend the rules.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Miller.
under the revised agenda, we're now on item number 12 of the agenda. And I move that Rule number 9D, requiring that ordinances and resolutions be heard at 3 separate regular meetings of council, and Rule 13A, requiring reference to committee, be dispensed with, and ordinance number 2011-0010 and 2011-0011 be considered for final passage at this afternoon's meeting.
Second.
Move for suspension of the rules by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Shrine. Is there any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, we call the roll.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Simon? Mr. Greenspan?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Brady? Mr. Germana?
Yes.
Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Schron?
Yes.
Ms. Conwell? Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Conley? Motion carries.
All right, Madam Clerk, will you read item number 0010, please?
Reading into the record, new ordinance number 2011-0010, an ordinance establishing the Department of Public Works and placing the duties and responsibilities of the central services operation of the county under the direction of the Department of Public Works and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective. This ordinance was sponsored by the County Executive Fitzgerald.
Move to adopt. Second.
Moved by Mr. Schron, seconded by Mr. Rogers. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, to the council and to the public, the charter provides that there shall be a director of public works, but the charter does not directly create the Department of Public Works. The charter does say that it is the council's responsibility to create departments and divisions within departments and sections within divisions of the county government. And what this ordinance does is that it establishes the Department of Public Works. It also follows the intent that the executive gave us, that the executive wants the former Department of Central Services to be included within the responsibilities of the Public Works Department, so this legislation provides for that. And it also provides that the council will work with the executive over the next 90 days to create a more detailed structure for the Department of Public Works, giving the executive the flexibility to work on a structure that will be efficient and effective for this department. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, you call the roll.
The ordinance, Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Simon?
Yes.
Mr. Greenspan?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Mr. Germana?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Schron?
Yes.
Conwell? Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, in connection with the creation of the Department of Public Works, we have a second ordinance.
Ordinance number 2011-0011, an ordinance establishing that the person hired by the Department of Public Works to perform the duties declared by general law to be done by a county engineer shall possess the credentials required of county engineers by the Ohio Revised Code, which are currently that the county engineer be both a registered professional engineer and a registered surveyor, licensed to practice in the state of Ohio, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective. This ordinance was also sponsored by County Executive Fitzgerald.
Move to adopt.
By Mr. Schron and seconded by Mr. Rogers. Is there any discussion? This ordinance addresses the issues that Mr. Powell had talked about. So this will create then one person within this department to be designated as the county engineer, who will have the two registered licenses, and we had and a legal opinion from Mr. Morales, who must commend has worked quite diligently to answer our demands over the last several days. And so we're satisfied with this ordinance as enacted. Is there any other discussion? Mr. Schrein?
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, I'd like to direct this to the law director specifically. The references that were made in the earlier comments in the public session regarding the duties of the county engineer, specifically as it relates to their obligations as a surveyor and as a degreed and responsible engineer, do you believe that your opinion and the way this resolution was drafted thoroughly incorporates that by the reference numbers to the Ohio Revised Code?
Yes, Councilmember Schron. The charter itself follows the dictates of the Constitution, and the ordinances are perfectly aligned with the requirements of both the charter and the Constitution, and state law, in my opinion.
And then follow up, so that therefore the delineation as indicated in the comments, in the public comments of duties is adequately described just by reference as opposed to actually delineating the duties in the ordinance itself.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments or questions?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Miller.
Our overriding principle going forward is that we want to provide a structure that's both honest and clean and also efficient and effective. And in order to do so, two things need to happen. One is that there needs to be strong administration of the department under leadership that understands the fiscal issues, the organizational issues, the administrative issues, and such things. And the second part is that you need to have the necessary professional expertise to make sure that the technical and professional work is done in the proper manner. And if you don't have both, you can have problems. And I believe that this structure that's provided for in the charter and that the executive supports will provide us both highly qualified and capable administration through the Director of Public Works, and will also provide for that the person who actually handles the responsibilities of the engineer entrusted under the Ohio Revised Code will have both the engineering and surveyor license that's required.
All right, anything further?
Madam
Chair.
I don't know who's first. Oh, Mr. Fitzgerald, sorry.
I want to go ahead.
What I'm hearing is all the state laws are lining up consistently. I'm hearing the Constitution allows us to amend and structure our government, and that the state law requiring a dual license, even our county charter that we're lining up. My question, though, is this office, this position that's being created, is it actually an office of engineer? And this is to Mr. Morales.
Madam Chair, to Councilmember Jones, no, we are not, through this ordinance, creating an office of county engineer. The duties of the office of the county engineer through the charter, section 5.05, have been entrusted to the Director of Public Works and are performed by or at the direction of the Director of Public Works, and this ordinance is completely consistent with that charter language.
Thank you.
Mr. Schreier?
I was just pointing.
Oh, okay.
Yes, follow-up question, Madam President, to Law Director. Is it your opinion that the Director of Public Works does not need to be an engineer for fulfillment of the job of Public Works Director?
Madam Chair, to Councilmember Schron, yes, that is my opinion. I think it is clear that the charter completely anticipates this issue and states clearly that in the event the Director of Public Works does not contain both of those credentials, that the Director shall employ individuals who, together or separately, will have those credentials. So there's no doubt that this matter was completely contemplated at the time that the charter was drafted.
And we will be a unique county of the 88 counties that we have the ability to do this. I don't know whether the Summit County's charter has anticipated this, but at least in our county, we have chosen by the voters of this county to do something different.
Summit County still retains an elected county engineer. So
Right.
yes, we are unique.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yeah, just a couple comments regarding this matter. First of all, besides, and I read Mr. Morales' legal opinion, and obviously I agree with it, but it also, I think, it's instructive sometimes to look at what the spirit is behind in the common sense purpose behind a law. The state statutes are there to make sure that a person that is elected as a county engineer meets certain requirements in order for them to be qualified. We're not contemplating having somebody serve as engineer that doesn't meet those qualifications. And as I told, and we sat down with Mr. Pausch and his colleagues from his state association. I understand their point of view. They're very protective of the status of engineers in the state. I understand that. But the purpose of the state law is to make sure that an engineer is a single individual that possesses both a PE and a PS. And as I told Mr. Pausch and his colleagues, it never was our intention, never has been my intention to have a person serve in the function of a county engineer who isn't a PE or a PS. We just happened to hire a public works director that happened to have a PE. But there are plenty of, for instance, municipalities in this county who have public works directors that don't have a PE or a PS or even necessarily a BA for that matter, but they may supervise other departments underneath them that perform engineering functions where they have both a PE and a PS. So the Constitution gives us unique abilities because we are now a chartered county to orient our services. What it doesn't allow us to do, I don't believe, is to provide engineering services in a way that doesn't meet certain professional standards. And we're not going to violate that in any way, shape, or form. In other words, the State Engineers Association argument would have to be that when Mr. Kleiber's replacement is picked, even though the replacement that we pick for his particular duties, I can assure you, is going to be both a PE and a PS, they're going to have to say, well, even though that person is serving as a function of an engineer, and even though they have a PE and a PS, the person they report to doesn't have a PE and a PS. So it's a bit of a stretch. I understand they're being advocates for their association. I understand that they believe that in good faith, but we think that we've actually gone above what we would be required to do under state law, and I think we're on very solid ground. Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes, Ms. Simon.
I just want to echo our executive's words that we're acting consistent not only with the Charter, but the state of Ohio's laws, the Constitution, and the issue of safety was raised by the speaker, and I have to say that the engineer that we and our executive points is going to have both the PE and PS, so any issue of safety will certainly be covered with the individual who will hold both of those titles. So I just want to stress that we will have somebody who will be able to fulfill that duty in the best of ways, so any issue with regard to safety will be addressed in that office.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Madam Chair,
Germana?
I'm trying to simplify this so that, people understand what we're doing. Most of our experience and what we know close by is, municipals, what's happening in city governments. And, you typically have a mayor, and then the mayor underneath has a service director and a safety director, okay? Now, those people generally, they supervise many departments. So you take in the case of the safety director, he's got the fire department, he's got the police department, he's got the jails, he's got the communications center. It'd be nice, if the safety director was a policeman or a fireman or experience in the jail or in the communications center, but in fact, he doesn't have to have all of them because he's in the management supervisor situation. And I think this is exactly the case, if you just move it up, because when we were explaining, how this new county government was going to be, it's going to be an executive and council, just like many cities. And so the Director of Public Works will have an engineer and a surveyor as the engineer. I don't think, we expect the Director of Public Works to do engineering work and sign plans and so on, and documents that a surveyor and an engineer needs to do. So I think we're very much in line with both legally and common sense that we do need people watching the administration in the departments. And, we know why we're here as a new government, to make sure there's checks and balances and there's good supervision. So I'm very comfortable with voting yes.
All right, there's any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Yes, Madam President. Also, just as a point of clarity, both of these ordinances will be revised to say declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective. Approving the ordinance, Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Simon? Yes. Mr. Greenspan? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Brady? Yes. Mr. Germana?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Schron?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on then to motions for consideration under item 8, and I believe we now need a motion to suspend the rules.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam President, I move that Rule 9D, requiring that ordinances and resolutions be heard at 3 different regular meetings, Rule 7E, requiring that motions of council be read at 2 different regular meetings of council, and Rule number 13A, requiring reference to committee, be dispensed with, and that motions number 2011-0008, 2011-0009, and 2011-0010 be considered for final passage at this afternoon's meeting.
I moved by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. Any discussion? And call the roll.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Simon?
Yes.
Mr. Greenspan?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Mr. Germana?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher? Yes. Mr. Schron? Yes. Ms. Conwell? Yes. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Conley? Yes. Motion carries.
All right, we've suspended the rules relative to item 8, which has relative to 3 appointments made by the county executive and the council. Madam Clerk, will you read the first motion?
Motion number 2011-0008, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of Bonita Tewan upon her taking the oath of office as the Director of Public Works of Cuyahoga County.
Move to adopt.
Mr. Schron, seconded by Ms. Simon. As read by the clerk, this is the matter of the confirmation of Bonita Tewan to be the Director of Public Works for Cuyahoga County. By way of background, I'd like to provide the following information. Ms. Tewan was formally nominated by the county executive in a letter to the council on January the 21st, 2011 to the position of Director of Public Works. This appointment is an Article 5 appointment under the charter, which means that she is subject to confirmation by the council and once confirmed served at the pleasure of the county executive. However, under Section 2.03 of the Powers and Duties of Council, it indicates that these confirmations must be made within 30 days. Accordingly, this council only had until February 20th to act on this matter. Therefore, it was imperative that we make a decision today, lest we be neglectful of our duties entrusted to us by the voters relative to the 30-day window in which we had to make our decisions. Our regular next scheduled meeting would not be until February 22nd, which would be outside the window. As I've already stated, the nomination of this candidate was submitted to the council on January 21st. The council conducted public hearings on this candidate on January the 27th, at which she performed ably. At that time, she was formally presented to council her certificate from the state of Ohio attesting to the fact that she is a registered professional engineer to practice in the state of Ohio. In addition, the council had an opportunity to interact with her at the Public Safety Committee meeting conducted by Mr. Jones, where she fielded questions for about 2 hours regarding the infrastructure and the inner workings of the county. And she performed ably and demonstrated a broad background and knowledge of the county and its roads. As heretofore stated, Ms. T1 has been nominated to be the Director of Public Works, and we have today passed 2 ordinances in connection with that, one creating the Department of Public Works, which the charter had neglected to create, and also the position of county engineer under that division. At the conclusions of the hearings on Ms. T1, which was a meeting of the Committee of the Whole, council unanimously voted to refer this matter for confirmation to the entire council for a vote for consideration of confirmation. Her nomination has been now moved and seconded. Is there any discussion before we take a vote? Mr. Schran.
Yes, directed this to actually Ms. Tiwan. Are you aware whether or not we currently have serving on staff a professional engineer and somebody carrying professional surveying credentials at this moment?
In addition to Bob Kleibert, there is currently another engineer in the sanitary division who is a PEPS.
So it would be in compliance with the law director's directive as the way he discussed this earlier, as far as having that capacity already in-house.
That is correct, but our intention is to hire another PEPS before Mr. Kleibert leaves.
Thank you, Madam President.
Any other discussion?
Council President.
Yes, Mr. Fitzgerald.
If I could, I just want, when I spoke to Mr. Kleibert, we had a conversation late last week along with some of the other individuals that we're going to be replacing. That was one of our requests, that he would stay on until transition period to make sure that the county never went through any period of time where we didn't have somebody that could be perform those designated engineering functions and have both of those certifications, and he agreed to that. We had a similar conversation, by the way, with Dr. Miller, just to make sure that there would never be any interruption in service in terms of somebody that was going to be willing to step in and serve also as an acting coroner if need be, and we got assurances that would be the case. I had also directed, before I made those decisions, I had already directed Acting Director T1 at the time to make sure that we had contingency plans in case either of those individuals ended up saying no and we're leaving right now. So we didn't make that final step or act on that final decision until we knew that in the event that happened that we would have an alternative.
All right, thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Approving the appointment, Mr. Rogers. Yes. Ms. Simon. Yes. Mr. Greenspan.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Brady.
Yes.
Mr. Germana.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Schran.
Yes.
Ms. Conwell.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Conley.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Congratulations. Now, we've just violated one of the rules of council, which says that there should be no clapping or outbursts, but I guess there's no one to sanction us here. And if you'd like to come forward and be sworn?
If I could, Madam President, Bonnie has some family members that she wanted to be present. They're not quite here yet, and if we could wait, and then I'll administer the oath when they're available, if that's okay.
Okay, fine. All right, the motion for suspension of the rules is still in effect, and now we'll move on to the confirmation of Gerald first. Madam Clerk, will you read the motion, please?
Motion number 2011-0009, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of Gerald E. First upon his taking the oath of office as the Clerk of Courts of Cuyahoga County.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Rogers and seconded by Ms. Simon. Is there any discussion? Or
Madam.
I would say this council received a letter from the county executive on January 21st, 2011, formally nominating Gerald First to the position of clerk of courts. Mr. First is well known to this county and its residents, having served as an employee of the office of the clerk since January of 1974. He was then appointed to the office in February of 75, replacing the longtime clerk Emil J. Maskey. He was elected to a full term in 1976 and has been reelected every 4 years since that time. And if he were to continue, but for the charter, he would continue in his office in 2012. Mr. Fitzgerald seeks the appointment of Mr. First pursuant to Section 504 of the Charter. This being a Article 4 appointment, if confirmed, Mr. First serves at the pleasure of the county executive. I might point out that one of the duties formerly possessed by the clerk relative to the motor vehicles titles will be transferred to the fiscal officer pursuant to Section 502 of the Charter. That section provides specifically for the transfer of non-judicial functions of the clerk to the fiscal officer, and to our knowledge, the Motor Vehicle Title Bureau is the only non-judicial function now possessed by the clerk. Based on information that we obtained at the hearing, the process of making that transfer of employees and facilities and the like is in its early stages and will not be completed for several months, but is in the process. The council conducted hearings on the qualifications of Mr. First on January 27th. At the conclusion of that session, certain members raised questions about the operation of the office. Those facts were unavailable at that time. As a result, no vote was taken, and the confirmation hearings were continued until February the 8th at 3 o'clock, giving an opportunity for Mr. First to provide further information and answer additional questions. The Committee of the Whole again met on February the 8th for the continuation of that hearing, and all questions were answered. At the conclusion of that hearing, a motion was made and passed unanimously to refer the consideration of the confirmation of Gerald First to the entire body for a vote on confirmation. We are here then on that vote. Are there any matters to discuss? Any comments?
Madam President.
Mr. Greenspan.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I take this position as far as confirming very seriously, and although I applaud Mr. First for his efforts and tenure to the county and looking forward to appointing individuals to serve in these roles, I look at it very seriously as being a board member hiring a CEO, and I have found through my questions and listening to the answers for my questions and my colleagues' questions that I do not have confidence in Mr. First's vision to lead this multi-million-dollar operation forward. So I will not be supporting Mr. First's confirmation.
Any other comments?
Madam President.
Yes.
I just want to, I was unable, unfortunately, to attend when council had their confirmation hearings regarding Mr. First, but I wanted to express to you some of my reasons personally for supporting him, why I think he deserves your support. Besides the obvious fact that he served very honorably and very humbly for over 3 decades as the clerk of courts. And I know that it is not as fashionable as it used to be to serve in public office, but he's done it, and he's done it well, and he's done it honestly. Now, he may not meet everybody's standards in terms of, now that he's in the twilight of his career, in terms of saying that he is an innovator of his office, but that's because he's been doing it fairly well and to very good reviews for many, many years. But I want to assure the council that, first of all, I thought the council's questions, and I reviewed them later, even though I wasn't able to attend the meeting, the council's questions about whether or not things could be done better, or whether things can be done differently, or whether technology can be leveraged in a different way in the clerk's office are all appropriate. And the burden is certainly, I'm not going to be putting the burden entirely on Mr. First to be the innovator-in-chief of the clerk's office. And I've talked to Mr. First and Mr. Hurley about this, and we are planning on analyzing the operations of every single department, and we will be open to doing things differently, consolidating functions between different clerks' offices. I've already had some discussions with other clerks, other judges about how we could do that, and Mr. First is going to be cooperative in those matters, and he's also ready to assist with that. So I didn't want, I understood the questions, I respect them, I understand where Mr. Greenspan was coming from in his questions, but I didn't want the council to take it as if because Mr. First is being renominated, and I'm very comfortable nominating him for this position, that it meant that the status quo was always going to be in existence in the clerk's office, because as far as I'm concerned, there isn't going to be the status quo in probably any department in the county. I just wanted the council to know that before they took a vote on it.
Thank you. Mr. Schrein?
I too shared some of the concerns that Mr. Greenspan had in regards to this confirmation, but I also recognize the years of quality service that we've received from Mr. First, and his commitment to adopt those improvements and changes and that direction, which was brought forward by the county executive. And I respect that that's going to be the driving force for those innovations, and for that reason, I will be supporting Mr. First in regards to that. But I do have the concerns where one looks down the salary lines and the payroll, that any time an organization is, there's something to be said for making your budget, but there's also something of a concern when it appears as though that's one of the lowest areas in the whole county from that standpoint. And I do have concern about the morale that can ultimately be affected by workforce. So I'd ask that all those factors be considered when you go forward.
Gallagher?
Mr. First, thank you for your years of service. And I too had some concerns only in the direction in which the court was going to go forward, understanding that you're going to finish the 2 years, or depending on what goes on in the future. My line of questioning to you was directed at the future. I was a little disappointed at some of the answers in which I got, and then I referred back to my time as a councilman in Strongsville, where the mayor had his appointments, and it wasn't always what I wanted, it was what the mayor wanted and deserved. And being the leader of the city, and Mr. Fitzgerald being the leader of the county, that I am comfortable with the fact that your years of service, the quality of the individual that you are, and you're a kind and decent man, in my affirmative vote, I would only hope that you would take this position in these 2 years, because the future of Cuyahoga County is now. It's not 2 years or 4 years in the future. And you would take this and move your organization with Mr. Fitzgerald forward. And I'm comfortable in the fact that I think the leadership is there to do that. And I look forward to you leading the clerk of court's office with the direction of Mr. Fitzgerald and his team into the future. Thank you.
Ms. Simon?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to state that I've had the unique opportunity to be a customer of the clerk's office under Mr. First, and I can say as a young law clerk, I was served well and was able to compare throughout these last years, several more than I want to say that I've been practicing, to compare different clerk's offices, and specifically even with regard to our juvenile clerk's office versus our clerk's office here, that this is a very well-run, efficient, customer-friendly office, and anytime there were any issues, that there was somebody there to address them expeditiously. So even within the county, this office stands out, and I also was able to travel and go to different municipalities and have to say that this office is exemplary, and I will be voting in favor of our executive's choice. So thank you, Mr. First.
Mr. Jumana?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think most of us, when we ran for county council, it was to restore the trust in county government. And of course, in the clerk of court's situation, there was never anything to restore, because he's always run a tight ship. And as far as him going through this interview, a lot of tough questions coming, and I think the fact that he's been tried true, and especially I'm encouraged by what the executive had to say about having the right person there and to help Gerald First modernize and bring this clerk of court position and administration to the cutting edge. So I'm 100% in favor of confirming.
All right, no further comments? Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Confirming the appointment, Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Ms. Simon. Mr. Greenspan.
No.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Brady.
Yes.
Mr. Germana.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Schron.
Yes.
Ms. Conwell.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Conley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations, Mr. First. Now, Mr. First, I know you were there, you've been there like 30 years, and Emil Maskey was there like 30 years before. Who was the clerk before Emil Maskey? Nobody knows. Benjamin Franklin, that's how All right, we have one more motion for consideration under appointment. Oh, are you getting sworn in now? Come on. I keep forgetting this. That's okay. Okay.
You're required to do that by law.
All right, young man, you ready?
Yes.
Raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Gerald Lee First,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and uphold
that I will support and uphold
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the laws of the state of Ohio
and the laws of the state of Ohio
and the Charter of Cuyahoga County,
and the Charter of Cuyahoga County,
that I will faithfully,
honestly,
and impartially discharge and perform all of the duties incumbent upon me as clerk of the Court of
Cuyahoga,
State of Ohio,
State of Ohio,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding.
and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, we have one other motion under appointments. Will you read that, please, Madam Clerk?
Motion number 2011-0010, a motion to appoint an individual to serve on a board of revision for Cuyahoga County. The individual's name is Ricardo Ramos.
All right, is there a motion?
Madam President, I move to adopt.
All right, moved by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Brady. Is there any discussion? This is the last of our appointments that fills out the 4 boards. Yeah, the 4 boards. We're in the process of interviewing people for additional boards, but this completes the work. This gentleman's paperwork wasn't completed when we did the other appointments. Is there any discussion on this? All right, call the roll, please.
Approving the appointment, Mr. Rogers. Yes. Simon.
Yeah.
Mr. Greenspan. Yes. Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Brady. Yes. Mr. Germana.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher. Yes. Mr. Schron.
Yes.
Ms. Conwell.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Conley.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, we now move on to item 9, consideration of resolution for first readings under the suspension of the rules.
Madam President.
Mr. Miller.
Madam President, I move that Rule Number 9D, requiring that ordinances and resolutions be heard at 3 separate regular meetings of council, and Rule 13A, requiring reference to committee, be dispensed with, and that Resolution Number 2011-0066 be considered for final passage at this afternoon's meeting.
Second.
All right, moved by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Brady. In discussion? And call the roll.
Mr. Rogers. Yes. Simon.
Yes.
Mr. Greenspan.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Brady. Yes. Mr. Germana.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Schron.
Yes.
Ms. Conwell.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Conley. Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, will you read item number 0066?
Resolution number 2011-0066, a resolution approving cost savings agreements calling for employees in various bargaining units of the county to serve 5 unpaid cost savings days called furlough days, during the period February 13th, 2011 through June 30th, 2011, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective, with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Ohio Council 8, Local 1746, covering approximately 1,250 employees in 81 classifications in the Department of Health and Human Services. 2, with Truck Drivers Union, Local 407, International Brotherhood of Teamsters, covering approximately 19 employees in 2 classifications in Employment and Family Services. And 3, with Graphic Communications Conference of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Local 546M, covering approximately 7 employees in 1 classification in the Department of Central Services.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Greenspan, seconded by Ms. Simon. Is there any discussion on this, or do we want to hear from the executive? Or
If I could just make one,
Yes,
I'll just
Mr.
make a very
Fitzgerald.
brief comment. This is obviously a series of agreements we brought before you, where we're very appreciative of these unions that have made the decision to make this sacrifice. I also just wanted to compliment Ed Morales, who's really been doing double duty, maybe triple duty, and he's helped negotiate all these. And these are difficult decisions for unions to make. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, but I think AFSCME last year had made the decision that last year they were not going to take the furlough days and chose to take layoffs instead, which unfortunately I had to lay off some folks from SEIU because they decided they weren't going to take a furlough this year. So we were gratified by this decision. And again, we've had, I think, a very consistent policy, which we try to make as uniform as possible across the board. So I just wanted to thank Mr. Morales for his work on this.
Thank you.
all right, any other discussion?
Madam Chair? You know, in the news media lately, there's been a lot of letters going back and forth concerning pro and against unions, and I just got a great appreciation for these unions to work with us because, you know, balancing the budget in these economic times is tough, and there are some unions that are just standing tough, but these unions decided to work with us, and I think they all should know that all members of council either took the donation back or a donation to charity, so that we're all taking cuts. Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Approving the cost savings agreements, Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Ms. Simon?
Yes.
Mr. Greenspan?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Mr. Germana?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. Schron?
Yes.
Ms. Conwell?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, item 10, consideration of a resolution for first reading referral to committee. Madam Clerk, number 0067.
Resolution number 2011-0067, a resolution authorizing an advanced energy forgivable loan in the amount not to exceed $350,000 to the Lincoln Electric Company for a wind turbine project located at 22801 St. Clair Avenue, Euclid, authorizing the county executive and or director of development to execute all documents required in connection with said loan.
All right, we've considered this matter, and at this time, the chair would like to refer this resolution to the Economic Development Committee and the Environmental Sustainability Committee. Those committees can meet together. It's be Mr. Rogers, Chair of Environmental Sustainability, and Mr. Schron.
Madam Chairwoman, I didn't realize it was going to get referred to both committees because the Economic Development Committee has the folks from Lincoln Electric coming next Tuesday because of the national holiday on Monday. So our ordinary day of Monday has been moved to Tuesday, and the only open slot was 10 o'clock in the morning. So Economic Development will be meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning with the folks from Lincoln Electric. So it's an exciting day of looking forward to hearing it. And so I hope that will work with your committee also. I know that Julian is on both committees, so that at least we'll have part of your committee there, irrespective.
Yeah, I think that should be fine.
All right, thank you. All right, number 0009.
Ordinance number 2011-0009, an ordinance authorizing the creation of a Department of Regional Collaboration under the supervision of the county executive to advocate for and promote cooperation and collaboration with and among the state of Ohio and other political subdivisions.
All right, once again, we've considered this matter, and we are going to refer this to the Economic Development Committee and the Intergovernmental Committee. So that would be Mr. Schrein and Mr. Germana. All right, any discussion on that?
We just added something more to our agenda on Tuesday, I think.
Okay, we don't have to take a vote on that. You okay with that, Mr. Germana?
Sure am, Madam Chair, and I just want to remind members of the County Council, about a week ago, I did pass out some flyers on the dinner meeting coming up this Thursday at the Marriott East, and Ed Jers, who is the Regional Collaboration Director, is going to be speaking along with Nina Turner, State Senator, and Mayor Eileen Panton from the City of Fairview Park, talking about regional prosperity. So if I have more flyers tonight, if anybody else is interested in attending, I could call in and make reservations. It's a dinner meeting. And as well as anybody from the public that would be interested, I have flyers.
Mr. Brady.
Yes, just a point of clarification. So there are 3 committees meeting in joint session at 10 o'clock next Tuesday.
I've actually lost track.
Mr.
Yeah, we may have to maybe just have a committee of the whole.
We don't need to meet on the other issue unless Mr. Germano would work out for your committee also, because he too is on economic development also.
I would suggest those may be separate meetings.
Yeah, Mr. Germano.
4 out of 5 members of the intergovernmental are also on the economic development. So 4 out of 5 are going to be there anyway. But I think we're probably going to be having a separate meeting on this. And I was going to be scheduling a March 7th at the regular time before the economic development for the regional collaboration director. But we could touch on it.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, and we have two of the 3 members from Environment and Sustainability are also on Economic Development, and Councilwoman Simon has said that she can attend, so I feel we should move forward in having the joint committee meeting.
Great.
We have an executive session scheduled this time. As of January the 28th, there were 14 pieces of litigation pending in various state and federal courts in which the county is a party. Other matters may have arisen since that time. While I, as president of the board, some members of council and some members of staff have been supplied with a list of those pending actions, neither I nor members of council are aware of the factual details, potential liability, or overall viability of these matters. I might point out that information regarding any lawsuit in which the county is a party is a public record and is available on the websites of state and federal courts, or just go and look at the courthouse. You, as anyone watching or anyone in the audience, as a citizen, are free to look at those pleadings before any court in which they are pending. We also have available today a list of those pending matters that we are aware of. The prosecutor's office, who is our counsel for the county, has contacted us in order to make a presentation to the entire council regarding these matters pending and apprise the council of the pertinent details, including but not limited to potential liability. This is important because at some point the council may be called on to make a decision regarding the final disposition of these matters. Conferences with an attorney for a public body concerning disputes involving the public body are a subject of pending litigation conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving that public body are subjects of pending imminent court actions are specifically exempted from the requirements of Ohio Revised Code 21-1122, so-called Sunshine Law. which means that the law specifically provides that conferences by a public body with their attorney for the purposes of being apprised of issues regarding litigation are not to be held in public. I am sure that the public can appreciate the fact that in your own lives you would not want to have to discuss a discussion between you and your attorney regarding pending litigation open to the public, nor would the county want to be at a disadvantage in any litigation because the legal tactics, potential liability, and confidential information between the counsel and their lawyers will be made public. You as the public have elected us and entrusted each of us with a grave responsibility. Each of us takes this responsibility very seriously, and that is to ensure that the public trust is well maintained and that we make decisions based on pertinent and factual information. To that extent, we must confer with our attorneys in a forum that is not open to the public or to the media. No decisions regarding the final disposition of these matters will be made during this session. It will be for information only. Minutes will be prepared relative to the number of matters that were discussed and the duration of the meeting. The executive session is anticipated to last no more than 90 minutes. Present in the executive session will be the clerk, Law Director Morales, Mr. Lambert from the prosecutor's office, Mr. Nanny from our staff, our prosecutor, Bill Mason, and Mr. Charlie Hanna. Is that anyone else, Mr. Mason? Is that a complete list? All right.
Nora Hurley is also going to be in
All right,
attendance.
Ms. Hurley also. And Hillary Taylor? All right. Also counsel for the county. Are we prepared to do the swearing in for Ms. Tiwan before we go into executive session?
No,
or?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. We will be, as soon as possible, we will be back in to conclude. Oh, wait, we have to take a vote. Sorry, we have to take a vote. Sorry. Is there a vote to go into executive session? Yes, Mr. Miller.
I move that the council go into executive session for the purpose of a conference with legal counsel concerning pending litigation and to discuss no other matters whatsoever.
Second.
Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Strachan. Call the roll, please.
Moving to executive session, Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Ms. Simon.
Yes.
Mr. Greenspan.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Brady.
Yes.
Mr. Germana.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Schron.
Yes.
Ms. Conwell.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Conley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. We'll see you in a few minutes.